Hey yo YouTube, I am here to continue talking about my D&D game. Last we left off, we were about to head through the door again. Um, One thing I left out last time, nothing big, was whenever the two vampire gangs were fighting, there were also some satires there that ended up escaping. And when we left, that's who we ran into and making a deal with them. And they're the ones who led us to the fortress with the humans and the Wemmicks. And so we go through the door and we bring two Wemmicks from Jungle Pride with us, or Swamp Pride with us, and we travel. We find the cat prints that leads us to another door. Um, Nina ends up saying, like, do you think maybe there's a way we could contact Admiral here? And like Onyx says, like the medicine cats on the Half Moon, they talk to Star Clan by going to sleep either by drinking or before drinking, after drinking, or sleeping near a moonstone, um, moon pool, or moonstone. It's unclear to me because I'm not a medicine cat. Uh, so like they're like, well, so you think we could go to sleep? And I'm like, well, if you want to go that far with it, uh, whenever Nina has the visions to open the door, it's always through a dream. So we have put her to sleep before because Becca's psychic warrior. So like she does some like hypnotizing and like puts her to sleep. So they decide to do that. Whenever she wakes up in her dream, she's in I don't really remember what the terrain is, but I do remember that she sees uh, big dead cats with their heads cut off. Um, I want to say for the most part that's really all she saw that was important. When she comes back and tells us, like I asked, do you think like maybe you were shrunk down and maybe one of them was a tabby? Like Beck's like, yeah, we do have to think in that perspective. Keep that in mind. When he asks, he says like nothing really looked like a black and gray tabby. So we enter the door, and like the doors a few times has been like it's been called a Keygate, and I always make and like the way it's been described a few times, I always make the joke on Aqua Team Hunger Force, the Fargate. Like, oh, it's a Fargate. It's nothing like that movie or syndicated TV show I've never seen before. Um, but we go through this one, or we go through it, um, and it is 100% a Stargate. Like, especially like I noticed the panel. Like that's when I first really noticed what I was looking at. Like I noticed the key, and it's the key that you see on the Stargate. Then I look at the rest of the map. Yeah, like it's the ramp, but there's a bunch of people with crossbows. And like that's also when I pitch like that's just like Stargate, where there's a bunch of people standing with weapons as someone goes through the portal. Um, and and right off the bat, Nina just runs forward off by herself. I don't know what's going on. Like I'm not sure if they're friend or foe, so I'm not completely trying to attack yet. So I run out there to kind of cover Nina, and like the players it's like, oh man, like that messed me up. And like the DM's like, well, you didn't say anything. Like we didn't know what you were doing. Like even because the DM is the MP Beck is an NPC if I ever said that. So he was like, I almost had Beck run out there too. I think the character does shout out something after that. So when it gets to my turn, I kind of back because like they're surrounding us. There's some on the side and then there's some in front of us. So I run in the back and jump off the ramp and attack that one. And she ends up doing some like AOE attack that like is like a shock blast or a force. I don't fully remember, but she ends up hitting like everyone except for one person on the mob. So like after that, like me and the other player are like, man, you're in trouble. Like you're gonna end up seeing Star Clamp now. Like you're about to be on your second life, and like the player didn't really seem to get how much trouble we thought he was in. Like why are you talking about me dying? I was like, well, you just hit everybody, and everybody has a missile weapon. Like the ones that didn't have crossbows ended up being some kind of alchemist that had like these type of grenades. So yeah, technically, like everyone could have hit him if it came down to it. Um, we did like I guess the other players distract a good chunk of it, but even that whole fight, Nina was being brave. Like at one point she ran even further to like touch someone to do a spell, and like the other player said something then like like yeah, the Nina's asking for it. Um, but besides her doing stuff like that, nothing really significant in the battle. Was like most crossbow grenade guys. Uh, After that, like there was another door, our regular door, and we opened it up, and there ended up being a hallway with a bunch of doors on the side. Like when we got closer, they were described as like cell doors, so they ended up having like a latch. So we started pulling the latches, and inside each of them are like these like naked people with like loose skin, if I remember right. So we kind of looked through each of them, making sure there's one in each. Uh, Eventually, Nina starts talking about let's open them up and kill them all one at a time. Um, like I'm unsure about it. Like Rawright doesn't want to do it at all. Rawright's like, let's just leave this alone, and Nina's like, well, I don't want to push forward, and this opens us behind us while we're fighting something else. Um, and then like Nina's like, all right, hey Beck, let's go check the bodies. Bring your bag. Let's go check the bodies and leave them to this. So like I said, since Rawright wasn't interested, like his where his spot was on the map ended up being all the way down to the bottom. Where normally I would have told him to come to us, we ended up going all the way down to him to the farthest door. And my character uses a halberd, and so I'm like, I figure let's open one up. We'll see how easy it is. Check out the dead body and go from there. So I decide, since my character uses a halberd, if I prepare an action for a charging enemy, I'll get double damage. So I say me and one of the other women will stand here with it prepared. Rawrite get the door unlocked, hide behind the door, and he'll also get a sneak attack. So he picks the thing. I end up grabbing the door to open it. Goes pretty much as planned. The thing ends up having a little more hit points than I expected. Like it took maybe a couple rounds for all three of us to get it down. And then once when it goes down, we hear and all the doors opened up, and then like all of the creatures start coming out. So like Rawrite is like, hey, let's back out into the room and bottleneck them. And like I kind of watch the other Wimix, and it doesn't look like they're doing that, so I just stay with them. Uh, the DM makes it where Beck and Nina are coming back once when this happens, which later on he tells us that really should have been the case. They should have still been checking bodies, which would have sucked because Beck is the one with the healing bugs, and I didn't take a heal from last battle, so I'm going in like probably about 30 down from what I usually do, and I can't go into a rage because I already did it once a day. Also, when I got my next level, when I got my level back, uh, which I believe happened last fight, um, I went fighter instead of barbarian. So, once when Nina and Beck gets to us, it doesn't go that bad because once when I finally get my heals back or my hit points back to a good spot. Between me and the other two Wimix, we're able to do decent damage to each of them. At one point, like if Rawrite does not want to leave the room, like he holds a couple of turns and then he finally like jumps out shooting his hand cross, and then ends up like getting hit twice, and it almost takes him down. Like he for the first time gets double digits and has to get healed in battle. And then once when the mob gets taken down, like Nina's like, one at a time, huh? I'm like, yeah, it went well. And and like as a player, I tell them that like I don't think Onyx would have understood what happened. I don't think him being a Wimmick barbarian would understand latches and stuff like that. I don't think he would understand it. So far as I know, Nina thinks we went in there and just pulled them all. Um, and then after that, like there's a door at the end of the hall, and we have Rawright Pickett. Um, the DM makes him do an intelligence check, and and when he passes, the DM says that you could tell that door opened too easily than it should have. Like it kind of just kind of popped open, and he ends up telling us that. So as a like I would think Onyx wouldn't understand it. So but as a player, I know, all right, so we're being watched. Someone opened these doors, and someone just opened this door, and since we played one more session, I still got, or another session since last time, I still got a little bit more to talk about. So, you want to keep hearing about what's going on, click on the next video and watch the other ones. You want to know the full story. And check you later.